Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer on modern AI storage. Today, we're zeroing in on some incredibly vital stuff. We are diving straight into Chapter 11 of a massive 15-part tutorial titled Modern AI Storage and Architectural Guide. And I have to give a shout out here, this fantastic resource was put together by Virtualization Options LLC, which is a really sharp technology research, education, and advisory organization based out in Colorado. In this specific chapter, we're going to unpack exactly how you need to fundamentally shift your data center architecture so you can finally stop starving your multi-million-dollar GPU clusters.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to run through the AI storage mandate, what it means to hit the storage wall, the new AI storage hierarchy, how to bypass the host CPU, asynchronous checkpointing, and wrap it all up with optimizing your total cost of ownership. We've got a lot of fantastic ground to cover in Chapter 11, so let's just jump right in.
Section 1. The AI storage mandate and the extremely high cost of data starvation.
30%. I really want you to let that number sink in for a second. That is the typical GPU idle penalty in a poorly designed environment. Think about what that actually means in the real world. You've got these incredible accelerators, GPUs that are easily running you 30 grand or more a pop, and they're essentially sitting there acting as the world's most expensive paperweights. They're generating absolutely zero value while they're stalled out, just waiting for data to arrive from storage. It's crazy, right? This economic reality makes your storage design literally one of the highest leverage decisions you'll make in your entire AI infrastructure planning.
And that perfectly sets up the defining infrastructure challenge of our era, the storage wall. This is basically the phenomenon where compute performance is scaling exponentially faster than our storage systems can actually feed it. To put that into perspective, an 8 GPU node packed with H100 accelerators has an aggregate memory bandwidth of over 7 terabytes per second. I mean, that vastly outpaces traditional storage arrays. It's kind of like putting a Formula One engine into a race car, but trying to fuel it through a standard garden hose. When these I/O bottlenecks start to form, your training step times get super irregular. Queue depths climb. And here's the kicker. People frequently and mistakenly blame the model code, when in reality, the true culprit is the infrastructure design itself.
Moving on to Section 2, hitting the storage wall and defining those physical boundaries.
Picture your data going on a journey, okay? This is the data availability boundary. Your data starts way out on the outer edge in this slow, massive, petabyte-scale object storage. Then it has to move inward, passing through parallel file systems and host DRAM until it finally hits the nanosecond hyperactive execution core of the GPU high-bandwidth memory, or HBM. Every single layer that data crosses is a potential choke point, and the absolute limit of what you can keep active at that innermost tier is usually hovering right around 80 gigabytes per H100 GPU.
All right, Section 3, the AI storage hierarchy. To keep that inner core fed, we really have to restructure the stack and completely abandon old-school storage thinking. If you look at classic enterprise storage, it relies heavily on temporal locality and random IOPS. Basically, it operates on the assumption that if you use some data yesterday, you're probably going to use it again today. That makes traditional caching work great. But the modern AI stack, it absolutely shatters that assumption. AI demands sustained sequential bandwidth and aggressive deterministic prefetching. Because training datasets use these massive, totally randomized shuffle windows, traditional caches are just completely defeated. You absolutely positively need storage that can deliver continuous, high-throughput sequential reads, no exceptions.
What's super fascinating here is looking at how these distinct AI storage tiers are functioning simultaneously. We aren't just dealing with a simple 3-tier stack anymore. This setup requires incredibly smart software policies to seamlessly manage bidirectional data flow across all these layers. We're talking from the nanosecond active model weights sitting up in Tier 0 GPU HBM, all the way down to the petabytes of shared training data resting in Tier 3 network storage. The defining characteristic of this entire modern hierarchy is independent scalability at each and every tier.
And within this setup, architects run right into a fundamental tension. Bandwidth versus capacity. You really have to strike a balance here. On one hand, you have blazing fast, high-cost TLC flash for the hot training tier, which gives you the sheer bandwidth you need for things like active checkpoints. But on the other hand, you have to balance that against much more affordable QLC flash or object storage for your massive dataset serving. Getting this ratio right is crucial. You want to make sure you don't exhaust your hot tier before completing a training epoch, but you also don't want to waste a ton of capital on flash capacity that's just sitting there gathering digital dust.
Which brings us to Section 4, bypassing the host CPU to streamline data delivery. Because getting data out of storage is really only half the battle. Through technologies like GPUDirect Storage, we follow these 4 distinct steps to push data straight from the network fabric directly into the GPU. As Chapter 11 really emphasizes, Step 1 starts way back at persistent storage. And let me tell you, offline data prep is a massive beast itself. Before you even start training, petabytes of raw text and images have to go through deduplication and get formatted into container formats like web dataset. Once that's all set, Step 2 uses RDMA for rapid network delivery. But the real magic happens in Step 3. Actually, scratch that. It's the absence of Step 3 that's the magic. We want to bypass CPU preprocessing entirely. By using pin memory transfers, we skip the host memory bottleneck completely, sliding straight into Step 4, GPU execution. The GPU is never left waiting around.
Section 5. Asynchronous checkpointing. This is all about protecting your training continuity. You see, AI workloads don't just read data. They are constantly generating these massive model state snapshots that have to be saved. And you have to save them without pausing the training loop. It's like trying to save a video game while you're still fighting the boss. Asynchronous tiered checkpointing is the lifesaver here. When a checkpoint triggers, instead of halting the entire cluster to write out to slow network storage, the system does a quick in-memory serialization. It dumps that data locally to super-fast NVMe drives in an absolute flash. Then, completely invisibly, it migrates that data to long-term durable tiers like object or tape storage, running entirely in the background, while your training just happily continues without a hiccup.
But you've got to watch out for this hidden trap known as the write cliff. If your sustained checkpoint writes end up overflowing your flash drive's SLC cache buffer, your performance literally falls off a cliff. This system is forced to write directly to the much slower NAND media. When this happens, it can extend your backup times by tenfold. And worse, it can cause your entire multi-million-dollar GPU cluster to just stall out while it waits for the write to finish. It's one of those things that's totally invisible during normal operations, but absolutely catastrophic when you trigger it.
Finally, Section 6. Optimizing total cost of ownership. Let's tie all of these architectural layers back to the actual dollars and cents of your deployment. To get your storage to compute ratio perfect, you need to rely on 3 foundational pillars. First up is data gravity. You have to acknowledge that massive data sets have a literal attractive force. So you bring your compute to the data and utilize things like flash-fronted buckets. This combines the cheap economics of object storage with the sheer raw speed of flash. Second is performance acceleration. You want to use high-speed interconnects, like NVMe over fabrics, to move your data at the exact speed of your compute. And third, AI-native optimization. This means disaggregating your storage from your compute, which is a game changer because it allows you to scale your high-throughput network arrays totally independently of your compute nodes. You only buy exactly what you need.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this one provocative question to chew on regarding your own enterprise deployments. What is the weakest link in your current data path? Are you seriously investing millions in GPU compute just to watch it sit there idle because of a neglected storage network? Finding and fixing that weakest link is exactly how you unlock the true potential of your AI investments. Thanks so much for joining me today, and best of luck optimizing your stack.